Alright y'all, welcome back. About to get into another video. Today we've got the craziest prison escapes of all time. So I'm guessing this channel, Fern, there's like a lot of scenarios or tales. Get into this. Damn, we got a hell of views on this. Alright, let's get into it.
July 1st, 2018, 9:20 a.m. A high-security prison south of Paris, one of the largest, most modern, and most secure detention centers in France. Hundreds of guards, massive 17-foot walls lined with barbed wire and armored doors. The courtyards are covered with anti-helicopter netting. On all four watchtowers, snipers with assault rifles stand at the ready. In solitary confinement cell 207, inmate number 00-10189 waits to be escorted to a visiting room. He is the most heavily guarded prisoner in the country. He was involved in at least 30 robberies, some including hostages, one involving a cash and transit heist that led to the death of a police officer. Twice, he slipped away from the police right at the scene of the crime. And 5 years ago, in 2013, he pulled off a spectacular escape from another high-security prison, using a smuggled gun and explosives to blast his way out.
Smuggled gun and explosives? How do you smuggle a gun and explosives, bro? I just recently found out like some prisoners, they sneak in like phones and shit. A whole gun? Damn. These are like real
Two guards
criminals,
unlock
bro.
his cell to pat him down.
I think of when I see like a GTA
They do
character.
find something suspicious, but it's just a pack of gum. The guards like him, despite his staggering record of high-stakes crimes. He's easygoing, funny, and likable. It's almost like he's perfectly comfortable here, behind bars. 20 miles away, 65...
They make anything in prisons, bro. I think they're real talented people, individuals in prison, regardless of their crimes. They can make anything, bro. I seen them make a lighter, I seen them make a stove, all types of shit, bro. But the one thing they ain't smart enough to do is stay out of prison, bro. Damn, it's unfortunate.
5-year-old flight instructor Stefan Bai welcomes two new students, Frédéric and Julien, father and son. They're both hyped for their flight. They say they just want to tag along and watch him fly, not pilot themselves, but they do request it to be on board the Alouette 2, a vintage collector's model from the 1950s. The pair have been marveling at it because it just looks so pretty.
Okay.
Something feels sketchy. Stefan will later recall that he thought they were wearing wigs. But hey, money is money, right? They pay 500 euros in cash up front. Back in jail, the prisoner is escorted to the visitors block for high-risk inmates. It's situated as far away from the prison entrance as possible.
Like, if you see somebody that looks suspicious, do you check if they have like a wig on? Like, if you think they have a wig or they have like some type of like something you feel is off, do you take it as a need to go out of your way to do it, even though they're paying you to do something? Like they're paying him to give them a flight, like a whatever, knowing that they're gonna do a crime. Are you like real patriotism, like a real patriot? Like, no, I'm calling like a Karen or something like that, or you just mind your own business? Because I'm like one of those people, I see it in the movies and I'm like, damn, check her, she looks mad suspicious, do something. But in real life I would not do that, bro, because it's like I'm like mind my own business.
Prison management has been on edge for a while, noticing a change in the inmate's behavior. He's received more visits and seemed to be sending coded messages during phone calls. His casual vibe with the guards could be a tactic to extract useful intel. A couple of days ago, a drone was spotted scouting the facility from above. Stefan is waiting for his students on an open field. He has landed on the clearing because they said they needed to stop to pee. They stepped out and disappeared behind some trees. When they return, they're armed. They claim to know his family and his home address. They say they have been watching him for months,
that's tragic.
and that their accomplices are waiting at his house as they speak.
Imagine them
If
pulling
he
up
doesn't
on you
do
like
exactly
that.
as they say, his family dies. They'll tell him where to fly next.
Bro, imagine going into an Uber, bro, and that happens to you. Imagine going into an Uber and you stop for something. I don't know. Let's just say this person's coming on drunk, right? You stop and let them throw up outside your car. Like, damn, you ain't throw it up in my car or whatever. You stop. Then they come back in with guns. And they say, you gonna drive. We know where you live. Your family lives, whatever. We need you to go do something for us. Damn. That's how quick your life can change, bro. And that can happen to anybody, bro. So just be aware of your surroundings. And even if you're in an Uber, I know some people take Uber every single day. Just be aware of your surroundings, bro. Keep a lookout. Don't be like those people that's an Uber driver like in an Uber, and just on your phone the whole time. Because granted, you never knew this person. You don't know where he came from. Only thing you know is his name, supposedly, in a picture that they put on Uber, which I know people got these janky pictures or whatever, but can't really trust nobody these days, bro.
Is about to pull off the most spectacular prison break in French history. The prisoner calmly waiting for his helicopter ride is Redouane Faïd. He's the country's most infamous criminal. He's also a best-selling author, a movie buff and adrenaline junkie, and to many in France's immigrant suburbs, he's also a legend. But to understand all this, we need to go back to the beginning. 1978, a suburb near Paris. This is 6-year-old Redouane. He's still in kindergarten, browsing through a newly opened store with his brother, who's 2 years older than him. There's not a single thing in this shop the two could afford. Their parents are Algerian immigrants. The father works in a factory. The mother cleans houses. At home, the boys shared a cramped 3-room apartment with 9 other siblings.
Damn.
The social housing block is surrounded by wealthy suburbs, full of wealthy French kids. Redouane and his brother do not fit the mold. And the store detective makes sure they know it. He calls them Petite Merguez, a racial slur for Algerian immigrants. But other than that, he doesn't really pay attention to them. Out in the parking lot, the brothers divide up their haul. It's Redouane's first theft ever. A couple of weeks later, he gets caught. His parents are furious, and his father whips him 20 times with a belt. His mother makes him promise he will never steal again. Around this time, Redouane discovers the world of film, especially French crime thrillers and American gangster movies. He watches them on repeat, memorizes entire scenes, and acts them out at home for his family. By his teens, stealing isn't just survival anymore. It's a way of life. He and his friends swipe TVs, stereos, VCRs, car radios, and computers. They use the money to buy Adidas sneakers and flashy tracksuits. But more than anything, they go to the movies. Again and again. Then, at 18 years old, Redouane commits his first bank robbery. He walks in armed, holds the bank employee at gunpoint, and threatens her with a line straight from the French crime film, Marine. "Shut up. Do what I tell you. I've got nothing against you. I only want the money. Think of your children." After the robbery, he simply goes back to school and studies for his high school exams. There's no one to scold him anymore at home. His father has moved back to Algeria, and his mother is dying of leukemia. He'll later write in his autobiography that, from that moment on, he stopped caring. Redouane Faïd's crimes are getting bigger, and they seem to be directly inspired by American action films. During a heist, he and his crew end up taking a bank director and his family hostage. They are wearing rubber masks with the faces of famous politicians, just like Patrick Swayze in Point Break. Redouane even delivers a line from the movie when they leave the scene.
"Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and please don't forget to vote!"
In another hostage situation 2 years later, Faïd and his men show up in sharp black suits in homage to Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs. They even adopt the thing with the color-coded aliases.
Mr. White, Mr. Blonde, Mr. Blue, Mr. Orange.
This is real, bro. This literally seems like one of those movies that I watch. But hey, that's why you gotta watch what your kids watch, bro, because it definitely molds on how they're shaped, their personality is shaped in the future. Because this is extreme, obviously.
But this time the job goes sideways, and they have to flee from the cops, just like in the movie. However, all these spectacular crimes still don't seem enough for Faïd. One of his all-time favorite gangster films is Michael Mann's Heat, and after watching it over and over again, he sets himself a new goal: the holy grail of robbery, armored trucks. An industrial area on the outskirts of Paris, Faïd is behind the wheel of a Renault. He spots his target, a 6-ton armored truck with 3 armed guards.
What's crazy is, bro, imagine the adrenaline that's rushing through your veins, bro, when you're fucking doing something like this. If you feel like on the highway, you drive real fast, real adrenaline rushes like a lot, bro. Especially like even in like regular competitions, bro. But this is like, you get caught, you're going to jail, bro. Bro, I can't imagine like the worriness I would have, like my heart, bro. I'd be so nervous, bro. My stomach would feel like it's on my toes, bro. Damn, and he's willingly doing it. Like, it ain't even like he has to do it. He's just doing it because he want to go
Guards inside
big and bad, you know.
and slams his car straight into
That's
it.
what he want to do.
Within seconds, 2 more cars appear, blocking the truck from the front and back.
Damn.
5 men in hockey masks jump out, AK-47s in hand, just like in the movie Heat. They surround the truck, moving fast. One of them slaps an explosive-looking package onto the windshield. The guards step out and surrender. Faid and his crew start emptying the truck, but there's a problem. It's simply too much cash. Moving the money out takes way too long. After just 3 minutes, police are on the scene. Gunfire erupts.
Shit took like half.
Faid takes a bullet to the shoulder. He does manage to escape with his crew, but he has lost blood on the crime scene. Now the police have his DNA and start to investigate his identity. And if they catch him, he's looking at 15 years behind bars. Stefan Bai and his 2 captors land for a second time. The hijackers have 2 more men waiting on the ground. They haul large black duffel bags into the helicopter. One of them climbs in, all dressed in black, hood pulled over his head. Stefan is held at gunpoint the entire time. Now he is ordered to take off again. He flips the ignition switches and presses the starter, but nothing happens. The kidnappers think he's trying to outsmart them and start freaking out. They beat and threaten him. If he doesn't do as they say, his family dies. Stefan manages to convince them that he really needs to step out to check the wiring. Finally, the engine roars back to life. They take off again. The hijackers are well prepared. The duffel bags are packed with tear gas, smoke grenades, masks, AK-47s, and an angle grinder. And so the heli thunders towards the high-security prison, where Redouane Faid is sitting calmly in visiting room 50, chatting away with his older brother. Hands down, this really is the kind of stuff you'd expect in a Hollywood blockbuster.
Yeah,
but say you're in the US and can't stream this French crime thriller due to geo-restrictions. Enter CyberGhost VPN. With servers in more than 100 countries, CyberGhost lets you bypass restrictions from anywhere in the world and access content. 20 years earlier, the Movenpick Hotel in Basel. An employee enters a room to prepare for the next guest. She has no idea she is not alone. Redouane Faid has been hiding there for over 3 hours. Outside, the police are searching for him across the entire city.
Bro.
A few hours earlier, Faid was searching for him.
Imagine you drop something, bro. You're in a hotel, right? You drop something, and you see this
Redouane
face
Faid has
under your, bro. That'd be the scariest thing ever, bro. Or like you hear movement, and you're like cleaning, like you're about to leave the hotel, and you're looking for stuff, and you're like, damn, where should I leave it? You look under the bed, bro, and see a whole body, bro. That'd be the scariest thing ever, bro. I don't know what I would do. Obviously, I'll probably like try to put hands on him, but like I'd freak out. I mean, I would have to wait for him to come out. Like, get out of there right now. Or I'll probably just run out, bro. I probably wouldn't even just sit in there trying to make him come outside, come out, because I don't know if he got a gun, knife. The odds are he's been there for a minute. So, bro, I'll just, damn, that shit's scary, bro. That's like a big ass fear of mine, bro. Just seeing a person.
has been hiding there for over 3 hours.
3 hours.
Outside, police are searching for him across the entire city. A few hours earlier, Faid was arrested on a train heading from Germany to France. German federal police took him into custody.
Damn, this
He
boy
had been hiding abroad
everything.
for months. But when the officers escort him off the train, he manages to break free. He runs straight across the tracks to shake the cops.
Nah.
A train roars in and blocks the officers from following.
Bro, this is like a movie,
He jumps
bro.
several meters down and twists his ankle, so now he's limping. Somehow he makes it to the back entrance of the Movenpick Hotel and sneaks inside.
I'm starting to think all these
He
movies
finds
are
several
based off
open
this.
doors, since the cleaning staff is
Based
still
off
working.
him.
He needs to get out of here somehow. He thinks about calling a contact in Strasbourg, but he doesn't have a phone. So what now? There's a payphone right outside the hotel, but he also doesn't have any coins. He calmly approaches the receptionist to ask if she can give him some change for a bill. She places the coins in front of him, which leads to another problem. His hands are still cuffed. What if she notices and calls the police? Faid keeps it cool, acts like he's casually reading a promo poster behind the desk. The moment the receptionist turns away, he quickly scoops up the coins. The first call fails, and he disappears onto the hotel rooftop to hide for a couple of hours. He tries again, turns around, and finds himself surrounded by 20 police officers.
Tweaked.
The next day, Fayed is at the hospital with 2 officers to have his ankle checked. He seems to be in serious pain.
This is
I
like
found this site called
movie,
Box.gg that'll let you unbox packs on their site, and they'll ship the physical cards straight to you. Let's open a.
But that's just an act. In a fraction of a second, he drops his crutches and snatches a gun from one of the officers. He trained in Krav Maga during his time in Israel, a super efficient military combat technique designed for fast defense and brutal disarmament. Before the second officer can react, Fayed drives his elbow into his face. The officer drops, and Fayed takes his gun too. Then he runs, as fast as he can, for the second time in 24 hours.
Damn.
You would think a guy like that would be watched extra closely in jail. At 11:18 a.m., this prison guard hears a strange noise. A low hum or buzzing sound coming from outside. To her, it sounds like a leaf blower. Weird, she thinks. The gardeners are not supposed to work on Sundays. Well, it's not a leaf blower. But the facility is prepared for this. This sentinel receives an urgent order over the radio: unseal. The same thing happens on other watchtowers. Each one is equipped with a special case. The guard has to break the seal to open it. Inside is an HK G36 assault rifle. He grabs it and takes aim. The helicopter just keeps descending. The prison yards are covered with anti-helicopter netting. Flying in here would be a suicide mission. But this is not a random helicopter. It's a 60-year-old vintage model, just small enough to slip through this unsecured gap in the last one of the prison yards. Also, this is not a regular landing. In fact, they're not touching down at all. Redouane Fayed must have known somehow that prison guards are not allowed to shoot at a flying helicopter. There's a proper protocol for this. And maybe he also knew that Stéphane Lai is one of the few pilots in all of France who are skilled enough to pull this off, to keep this specific type of vintage heli steady enough while hovering above the ground. Investigators will later discover that Fayed had been writing letters to Stéphane's stepdaughter for 2 entire years. And this friendship was not Fayed's only connection to the outside world, because at this point, Redouane Fayed was already a star.
Author, Slumdog Millionaire.
October 2010, 12 years after his escape in Basel, 8 years before his helicopter prison break, Redouane Fayed sits in a French talk show.
Gangster, braqueur, voyou, voleur, appelez ça comme vous voulez, il revendique à peu près tous ces mots-là. Bonjour Redouane Fayed. Bonjour. Les banques, vous en avez braqué combien en tout?
Alors, officiellement, j'en ai braqué qu'une, hein, parce que j'étais condamné que pour une banque. On m'a soupçonné d'en avoir braqué une trentaine, hein, mais bon, ça, c'est que des dires et des racontards.
He's a welcome guest at the time, a bit of a sensation even.
Smart man.
Redouane Fayed has written a book about his cinematic crimes, so now he's making the rounds on French TV to promote it.
Since he was 8.
C'est terrible de dire ça, mais le cinéma était pour moi un mode d'emploi pour braquer.
Et on voyait ça un petit peu, l'attaque
That
de
is
fourgon blindé en
crazy,
ligne de
bro.
mire. Pourquoi? Parce que quand
You know,
t'attaques
how,
un
you know how imaginative and specific and like real direct movies are, bro, or TV shows. And I don't think people actually notice, but a lot of that stuff is detailed because you need detail to be different from the next show. Let's say there's 2 crime shows, right? The one that has more details, the more specifics, the more laws, the more facts, the more true stories in it are the ones that's more popular. So if you're just sitting there studying these movies, watch these movies, you can take bits and pieces of factual information and make a full proof plan on how to rob, bro. So I can understand how he did this, but it's just like, do people have the balls to actually do something like that? This guy does. Damn.
fourgon blindé, c'est le top des tops.
The caption on screen reads, former gangster. Well, not so long ago, he was anything but. In late 1998, 3 months after his escape in Basel, Fayed was caught and sentenced to 18 years in jail for armed robbery. He was granted parole for good behavior after just under 9 years. Now he presents himself as a changed man, as someone who has learned his lesson.
La vie de bandit, c'est que de la vie de merde. Vous savez, vous faites souffrir tout le monde. Quand vous allez en prison, c'est une sanction carrément qui est collective parce que votre famille, votre femme, vos enfants, vos frères, vos sœurs, vos parents, tout le monde paye.
He got married. His brother has landed him an office job. He appears to be taking it easy now.
When you do that crime, bro, your whole family gets paid the price, bro, because people gonna start labeling them as criminals as well. You kill somebody, bro, they gonna look at your whole family as you raised a child of a murderer. Your sister or brother was a murderer.
At one point, he attends a film
Think about
event
that
where
before
Michael
you do
Mann
some
is
type of
physically
crime,
present,
bro. If you really care
the
about your
director of
family.
Heat. the very film that inspired his biggest heist.
Moi, personnellement, je suis un ancien gangster. Malheureusement, je m'en vante pas. Je viens de faire une dizaine d'années de prison. J'ai attaqué des fourgons blindés, des bijouteries, des banques. Monsieur Toubiana, je pense. Et
Bro, he literally said he did
un
one.
conseiller technique, un prof de
Officially,
fac,
now he's explaining he did all this.
une sorte de mentor. Il s'appelle Michael Mann. Alors ma question, en fait, elle est simple. C'est est-ce qu'il a conscience qu'il y a des gangsters qui puissent s'inspirer de son cinéma? Parce que moi, ça m'est arrivé.
Faïd addresses Mann directly. Michael Mann looks amused, but also a bit uncomfortable. He doesn't know what to say.
Thank you for that. I don't know how to respond.
In another talk show stint, Faïd is asked if he thinks he could ever relapse.
Ah non, ben, moi mes démons, vous savez, hein, ils sont morts, ils sont pas endormis.
That's a bold-faced lie, because at this point, he's already back to committing crimes. And not just petty theft, but a crime so shocking it will shake the entire country.
Bro is out here doing hella crimes, bro. Does not learn his lesson.
May 20th, 2010, Créteil, a suburb southeast of downtown Paris.
That's all I was
Two
wondered,
officers
bro.
are in routine
You know how
patrol.
they sit here and question if they should charge certain younger kids adult, like give them an adult sentence. It's kind of confusing because like you got people like this. It don't matter how much time he spends behind bars, he's not changing, bro. Especially if you let him out. If they did not lock him up, bro, and they said, "Oh, he's a kid, we're not gonna lock him up," or whatever it is. Bro, he go just keep committing crimes. Granted, he's escaping and shit. It's an exception, but if you do some type of heinous crime that's so crazy, you dinner gotta be charged and have to spend a couple years because otherwise you just not gonna learn your lesson for real. And it's the only lesson, but unless you escaping like him, he built different for real.
Cherry M and his
Real
partner
life GTA.
Aurélie Fouquet. Fouquet is 26 years old. She became a mother just a year ago. For them, it's just another day on.
You could have done anything with this time. Wiled it away.
On the job. But then they get a call from the National Police. They're told to head to the A4 highway exit. Some criminals are on the run in a white van. They pull up at an intersection with flashing lights and blaring sirens. They have no idea what they're about to get into. These men had a plan to rob an armored cash truck carrying 16 million euros. But 30 minutes ago, a routine traffic stop turned their heist into a high-speed, all-out chase with the police. Now they've crashed and need a new getaway car. But at that exact moment, the two patrol officers arrive. The gang doesn't hesitate to open fire. The windshield of the patrol car alone is pierced by 16 bullets. Fouquet is hit multiple times. The gunmen flee. Fouquet is rushed to the hospital, and by the end of the day, she is dead. The murder of Aurélie Fouquet sends shockwaves throughout the entire country. At her funeral, thousands of police
Damn, that's
officers stand
insane.
in
How
mourning.
often do the
Among
cops
them
get
is
into
French
like
President
high-speed
Nicolas
chases
Sarkozy.
like this?
He posthumously
armed robbery,
awards her a Medal of
high-speed
Honor
chases. How
and delivers a
often is
promise.
this? Is it
He
actually
will do
pretty
everything
often?
it takes to find out
I don't mean
who
like
did it.
petty shit like the robbing
Les
a
meurtriers
liquor store.
d'Aurélie
I mean
Fouquet,
like armored trucks.
je le dis devant son cercueil,
Let me know
seront
the
punis
statistics on that.
avec la sévérité qu'exige l'ignominie de leur crime.
Redouane Faïd feels safe. So safe he keeps telling his gangster stories on camera. Here he is in a documentary. The film recounts how Fouquet was gunned down, and then Redouane Faïd appears, not as a suspect, not as a fugitive, but as an expert on this kind of heist. At the time, the filmmakers had no idea that the man sitting in front of them had a part in the killing of Aurélie Fouquet. The failed attack on the armored cash truck has Faïd's signature all over it, but he has an airtight alibi, and he swears he was not involved. But investigators keep digging and eventually find compelling surveillance footage. A security camera has caught Faïd inside the white van used by the criminals. Faïd was not on the scene when the shots were fired, but police gather enough evidence to pin him down as the mastermind behind the operation. After 1 year on the run, Faïd is captured. Again, and he goes straight back to prison. Whether you're invited to a talk show or heading out on a date, there are moments when you want to look your best. But shaving is often a struggle. Many men experience razor burns and get nervous about shaving right ahead of an important event. That's why Henson set out to fix shaving with real precision. They're experts in machining parts for aerospace projects, and they conducted pipe.
This is what I came to see.
2 inmates are taking out the trash, accompanied by a prison guard. Suddenly, they see a helicopter in the courtyard next to them. They wonder if it could be firefighters. The unarmed warden bolts into a nearby office, hiding behind bulletproof glass. Meanwhile, the two prisoners are about to witness Redouane Faïd's spectacular prison escape up close. One of the three men stays with Stefan, the pilot, and continues to press a gun to his head. The other two jump out. They are masked and wearing bulletproof vests beneath their clothes. Each of them carries an AK-47.
Damn.
They've just landed in the honored courtyard. Prisoners do not have access here. It's only used when inmates enter or leave the facility. That's why nobody thought anti-helicopter cables were needed here. The man in green runs towards a reinforced white door. He carries an angle grinder with a 14-inch 35cm blade. His partner sets off 3 smoke grenades, releasing thick white smoke. The helicopter's spinning blades churn it into a roaring chaos, until the entire courtyard is engulfed, a complete whiteout. The sound of the cutting angle screeches through the entire prison. Faïd knows what that means. It's time. By now it's clear to everyone that nobody here is blowing leaves. The blade of the grinder slices through the locking doors. Clean, precise. 40 seconds is all it takes. The man in green can just push the door open and step inside. The guards slowly realize what's happening, but they're not carrying firearms and are unable to interfere. One of them sticks to protocol and calls the Civil Aviation Authority. They don't understand what's happening. Another calls the standard line for police emergencies and gets put on hold. A third contacts the local police, but the officer on the other end thinks it's a prank. The sentinels on the 4 watchtowers are the only ones carrying firearms, but they can't see the helicopter because their view is blocked by other buildings. And they're not allowed to fire at a flying aircraft anyway. Total, utter chaos. By now, Faïd's brother knows exactly what's going on. He's furious. He thought his brother was ready to change. And now this, another escape. He just can't help himself. Faïd's accomplice has already cut his way through several locks, and now he has reached the door to visiting room 50, where Redouane Faïd is waiting. The angle grinder slices through the metal. The door is open. Faïd has been waiting for this. He storms out and rushes down a long corridor, followed by the man in green. His brother is left behind, frozen and stunned. At 11:28 a.m., Redouane Faïd steps into the prison courtyard, 10 minutes after the helicopter got there. He sees the 2 inmates that have taken out the trash, brings his right hand to his temple, and gives them an Air Force salute. Then he climbs into the helicopter. Dozens of inmates stand pressed against the bars of their cells to watch. As the helicopter lifts off, the entire prison erupts into applause. It's almost like a movie scene.
A French gangster who broke out of jail by hijacking a helicopter.
A notorious gangster is on the run again.
Criminal who is a big movie fan. He has broken out of prison twice
and
now.
You can just about make out the helicopter flying off into the distance.
Multiple armed men who hijacked a helicopter
which picked up Redouane Faïd from within the prison grounds.
The news of Redouane Faïd's prison break spreads across the world. He was already famous, a TV figure, the center of a cult-like hype. But this is a whole new level. A well-known French actress writes on social media, "Bravo, Redouane Faïd, all of France is with you." The French police declare him the country's most wanted man. 3 months later, the authorities track him down. Hiding in an apartment in his hometown, Caen, he's been disguising himself under a burqa during public outings. When he finally stands trial in 2020, authorities take extreme security measures, including a no-fly zone above the courthouse. The court cites a psychiatric assessment describing him as a social predator and gifted at manipulation. He uses his charm and intelligence to control others and get what he wants. Faïd himself says that for him, it was always about the adrenaline. He says he is addicted to it and calls himself a sick man. His Hollywood-style heists made headlines worldwide, but he also made his family suffer, traumatized hostages, and caused the death of a 26-year-old police officer. Faïd stood 2 separate trials. For his heists, his role in Aurélien Fouquet's death, and his 2 escapes from prison. He was sentenced to a total of 39 years in jail. His lawyer says he's been held in solitary confinement since 2019. He is strip-searched up to 5 times a day at random intervals. At least 4 guards escort him to each and every one of his phone calls. And even then, his hands have to remain in shackles. Faïd himself says he feels like he's been buried alive. His earliest possible release date is 2060. He would be 88 years old by then.
Liberty Mutual has savings for all. Mary had a little something.
Hey Disney Plus, you should stream the brand new daily sports show SC Plus. Here are the top 5 reasons you should watch the show. Number 1, get the top news on your favorite teams and sport. Number 2, you can start your day informed. Number 3, that means if you have sporty friends in your life, you can talk to them about things that are important to them. Also, you can expand your knowledge beyond the classics like Mighty Ducks, Johnny Tsunami. There's also a trade involved in sports. We'll tell you why it's important, like the difference between Luca and Luca.
It's a quiet morning in an Australian suburb. The streets are still. The neighborhood sleeps soundly. In a few seconds, the silence will come to an abrupt end. Armed officers will storm through family homes. Flashlights will cut through the darkness, illuminating the startled faces of criminals, violently ripped from their sleep. Scenes like these will happen all across the world. A global storm is coming down on organized crime. As the sun is rising from Asia to Europe and finally to the Americas, police in 16 countries will strike. They will raid drug labs, secret warehouses, and private residences. Around 9,000 police officers will make over 800 arrests. Nearly 40 tons of drugs, along with countless weapons and millions in cash and crypto, will be seized.
Operation Trojan Shield.
This first-of-a-kind global operation. The biggest investigation and operation
Biggest criminal
sting ever.
Entire organized crime rings will cease to exist from one minute to the next. It will be the final act of Operation Trojan Shield. The largest sting operation ever, orchestrated by the FBI and Europol.